Hello everyone, so I'm a little late to the party with this review, but I was finally able to watch Cherry on Apple TV. This was directed by the two Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe, which we know mostly from Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And this also stars Tom Holland and Sierra Bravo. This is the story of Tom Holland's character, who is a college student who falls in love, falls out of love, and ends up becoming an army medic who's sent to Iraq, experiences a lot of trauma and horrors when he's there at his time, and he comes back, and to deal with all this PTSD and stress, he becomes a junkie addict and then a serial bank robber to fuel his and his girlfriend's dope addiction. And it's just a constant battle against this guy his entire life in terms of his own identity, what he wants for the future, what he wants for a family, and just kind of the American experience that he was put through in so many parts of his life. But without further ado, let me get into my review for Cherry. Right off the bat, the acting in this movie on all parts, even the side characters, but especially from Sierra Bravo and Tom Holland, the acting is pretty phenomenal with the script that they're given and everything that they have to portray on screen, especially in terms of some of the PTSD that they have to experience, like both of them, Sierra and Tom. They bring it in screen in a way that I thought was like really respectful, and they do it really, really well. The bank heist scenes are exciting and very well acted by Tom. He's really dynamic in this movie, where he goes from a shy young kid to someone who's stone cold in the way that he needs to get the job done, or just completely flushed out when he's high off dopamine and seeing his dead comrades that he lost in Iraq at the same time. Like I said, he's very dynamic in this role, and it is probably his best performance that I've seen on screen. But getting into that a little bit, I found the most exciting points of this movie and the times that this movie really shined was when it showed what was going on in Iraq, and especially in terms of just the danger that Tom's character saw. That's when this movie was at its best, when it came to some of the bank heists or him dealing with opioid addiction. A lot of the times the acting is what sold those scenes, whereas some things felt out of place, or they were dope addicts for a long, long time and you never saw their physical health really deteriorate, just a bit of their mental state deteriorating. And I wish they would have shed a little more light onto that instead of like seeing smooth skin, like amazing looking Tom Holland and Sierra Bravo the entire time, because it just didn't feel like it showed how much it was ruining their life and their homes. Like their house was still as organized as it was when they started, but their whole lives, their clothes and everything were a mess. But it's just a lot of the time I felt like it didn't really go into all the effects that addiction could have on somebody. But like I said, when it comes to talking about PTSD, and not just in the war, but having someone who experienced so many terrible things in the war, like all forms of PTSD, that showed it really, really well in this movie. And just unfortunately, like with a lot of the ways that they did the storytelling in this movie, it felt like it was skipping over and summarizing in very like wordless scenes of what was going on in the background or to certain characters, and just it felt like so much character development was skipped over to put us into the next scene that didn't really flesh out this movie a lot. And the storytelling was really sloppy a lot of the times in this film, and especially the first hour of this film. Nothing interesting really happens. It drags on. It feels like the runtime of this movie is just about 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and the first hour of this movie felt almost like that entire runtime. But after the first hour, it starts to pick up a little bit and get really interesting and down to the grits of what this movie is really about. But again, after Iraq, a lot of this movie feels like so much character development and thought was just skipped over or summarized in a wordless scene that's not exactly meaningful in how it explains it to the audience, especially the epilogue in this film, where it's Tom Holland's time that he spends in prison, and it's just, it was happy for the characters to see what was going on, but for us as an audience, it felt like a really cheap way of storytelling about how people get over their addictions, over their PTSD, start their lives over. And like I said, it was just a form of storytelling that I thought needed way more time to touch upon, where almost half or more of the first bit of this movie could have been skipped over or just cut out and made a lot more effective to spend time needed elsewhere in this movie. And on that same note, there's a lot of like side characters and side plots in this film that I feel really skipped over, not touched upon, that was really adding to these characters' lives and what they were going through in terms of Sierra's parents in this movie. Like, they were huge on the way that she should have been living her life and dealing with crisis, especially after overdose scenes, hospital scenes, but yet they're just completely brushed off to the side, and we don't get to know how they played a major role in shaping her life, getting her healthy, and especially too helping Tom. And same thing too, just I wish we would have seen a lot more of his time in prison and how he was able to get clean, rehabilitated, or even too, just how long he was in that prison for and how long he didn't see Sierra's character at all. And it's just like I said, so much of the storytelling in this movie felt so brushed over when it was so important to the characters, the lives, and just the way that this story should have been told and what it was trying to dig deep in. It's just so many elements of it felt like it was just completely erased from this film, and it didn't make it as an effective storytelling. And like I said, it's just a lot of the time it felt really sloppy and messy. And with all this taken together, that is why I'm going to give Cherry a 6 out of 10. It was, for the most part, supposed to be like a really solid film, and there's elements of it that I really liked, things that I really didn't like at all because they just needed way more context, way more texture, time to spend on. But there was something great in this movie that was just missed out on. But if you've seen Cherry, please let me know your thoughts of it in the comments down below. And if you like this video, of course, give it a thumbs up. And you can check out all my other movie reviews and everything else that I do on this channel through my playlists down below. And I'll also link some up top here. You can check out everything I do video game wise through my Twitch, which is linked in the description too. And also in the description, you can join the Media Mountain, which is my Discord where we talk about media and all the things that we love in this world. So definitely join that. And if you like what you see on my channel, subscribe. Turn the little ringer on if you want to know when I upload new videos. But until then, just awesome, guys.